Do a countdown. 3. Oh wait, hang on. Is it recording? Recording. I think it's recording. I think you're good, Randy. You got the signal. Does it show recording on yours, Bob? Zoom does it a little different.
It is not really telling me one way or the other. I don't see.
Okay, it says up in the top left of mine. Go, Randy.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's recording.
Bob. Go.
The intro.
Oh, hello there.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
Welcome to my bar.
What an illustrious bar you have.
What'll it be, Mr. Torrance?
Hair of the dog, Randy. Wait, what's it called? What, isn't that what he says?
Yes. You got
Okay.
it.
Woo!
This is a great intro.
I say some crazy shit sometimes. I just never know.
Well, I mean, we can all agree to that.
Check. Checking. Syphilis. Check.
Don't give me that. Breakfast stains.
What up, nerds? Welcome to a very, very literary episode of Straight Chilling. My name's Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 227, recorded Sunday, August 11th, 2019. Tonight, we're going to be talking about that new Andre Overdahl joint, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Before we get down to it, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from kind of Chicago, Randy Gandy G. Landy.
Hello, Mr. Torrance.
That's a tall drink you got there.
Pouring it tall, Randy.
Nice and tall.
I've got work to do, and that work involves me being inebriated.
Very good. Very good, sir. Also calling in from kind of Chicago, Becky. What's up, Becky?
How y'all doing?
Dr.
Doing
Now.
Fine and dandy.
Bex, you got a nice new disco ball to have some fun with. How's that going?
It's pretty groovy.
Yeah.
It's
Randy sent a picture of his new place. YouTube exclusive.
YouTube exclusive.
That's your bedroom, right? That's right above the bed.
That's where the magic happens.
No, we sleep in the others too, like refrigerated rooms. We
The
sleep in one.
details aren't important. Yes, that's where the sex is had.
Or not.
Last but not least, calling in from Southern Korea, we got our boy Soju. What's up?
What up? It's your boy. Scary stains you'll get in the dark.
Ugh. That sounds very Jeff Epstein-y.
Oh, oh boy. We're going topical today.
Whoa,
Man,
I'm not Bob over here.
there's a lot to unpack. I don't know what that means exactly, but I
Let's
don't.
not find out is the answer to the question.
So if you're watching us on YouTube, I think we should probably go ahead and bring up the fact that Andy and Becky are calling in from their very own home bar.
Whoa.
That's
Home
accurate.
bar.
YouTube exclusive. Good to watch Randy pour his drinks. Man, you got it set up nice back there.
You know, they have the best bartender here. His name's Lloyd. Good guy. He's one of the best of them.
Also,
You're on the
we're
wrong
talking
podcast
about
for
a
that kind of
movie
stuff.
in which like a large portion takes place on Halloween. So
Mhm.
Fact.
it is spooky season.
Halloween.
I'm considering this a
stores are open.
kickoff.
Football has started.
Yeah,
Spooky
it's
season.
it's that time of
Is
year.
it? I'm
Yep.
not paying attention to that.
Show enough is. So let's go ahead and get rid of some of this housekeeping stuff real quick. Just a quick reminder, our September poll pick is posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you can vote on a movie we're going to talk about next month. The theme of the movies for next month is going to be witches.
Witch.
That,
movies
you're gonna have to literally repeat that because it was not it was garbled nonsense.
It's witch.
Witches.
Witches. Oh. I thought you said wages, like
For the
minimum
hearing
wages.
impaired and people with normal ears, that's witches.
Witches, yes.
With two
the-
V's, of course.
Bitches.
Of course, always.
Them
The
bitches.
movies you can vote between on Patreon are Haxon, The Craft, and The Witches.
How those numbers looking, Bob?
Last I looked, the Craft and the Witches were in a dead heat, and Haxon was falling behind. So,
What a shame.
Welcome. I
Get
think
your votes in.
I remember what I picked now. Last week I could not recall what my pick was.
I remember watching you sweat, and it was very enjoyable.
I do remember now which one I picked.
Yeah. We have glorious news. We got a new Patreon supporter this week. We got to give a quick shout outs
Whoa,
to.
shout outs.
Yeah. Big thanks to Mr. Andrew Gilly from Horrorphoria podcast.
Ooh, thanks, my guy.
Yeah,
Thanks,
my
Andrew.
guy. And we got to do it. We got to give him a straight chilling salute officially.
Dude, let's do the salute on
Here's looking
YouTube. Here
at
we
you.
go.
Smack my ass.
Yes, slap my ass. Slap me in the ass.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you're wanting to check out some Horrorphoria podcast, I was lucky enough to be a guest on there not too long ago, and we talked about
Whoa, Hollywood
uh,
Bob over here.
we
Wow.
talked about Vinegar Syndrome releases, and I'm going to be back on there in a couple weeks as well, and I think we're going to talk about just like B movies are like the best of the worst, or the worst of the best, however you want to define it. B movies. So
I think we
Uh-huh.
can't make that cut.
I mean, there's no way it
Yeah.
doesn't.
yeah.
Sounds
It's
like
so good.
gonna get way down in the hole there, Bob.
Way
Oh,
down. Yes.
Way down.
Where's
Way
that,
down.
Podcast based out of?
I forget exactly what state, but they're in the Midwest somewhere. For
So
sure.
you're not
Oh,
driving.
come
You're
say
like,
hey, Andrew.
Yeah, we're
Come
here.
to our bar.
We have
Yeah, I want to say like Wisconsin. I'm not.
I think you're right. I think it is Wisconsin.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Well, God bless you,
Yeah.
boys.
yeah, Wisconsin. Juice, we got any YouTube or Twitch news?
Yeah, let's talk a little housekeeping. We are playing a new game for the month. It's called Hello Neighbor on Twitch, twitch.tv/Straight Chillin' Podcast. It's pretty cool. Somebody bailed my ass out, and I would like to give some real appreciation for that. And it's hard too because we have the Slack, we have like Instagram handles, we have like Facebook and stuff like that. So I'm not exactly sure who this is, but they bailed me out hard on this game. I was having a hard time like figuring out the puzzles because essentially it's like a Disturbia where your neighbor committed like a murder. You have to break into their house and like discover like what they did. And so I could not break into this dude's house. Like I could not do it. I couldn't figure out how. And they were like helping me out and stuff like that. And
It's a classic Disturbia.
Classic.
Vintage
but
Disturbia.
it was fun. I think I'm already maybe about halfway through. I think it's like a shorter game. And I said if we finished up early, that maybe we would hop back on some Friday the 13th. So maybe I can knock that out this week. I'm going to have an alter time again. I'll do it at 7 p.m. instead of 8 on Monday night because I'm still on that summer schedule. But I think this is the last week. So tune in, watch us live, help bail my ass out. If not, you can check it out on the YouTubes as well, youtube.com/Straight Chilling Podcast. I also wanted to give a personal PSA because this happened and it's been happening and I've been feeling bad about it. So I came up with a solution. So we have our collective Straight Chilling like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. But sometimes I'll comment on it and then people will like hit me up personally like, oh, I want to be your friend. And I appreciate that. I would love to like talk to you guys personally. But at the same time, I like have pictures of my niece and nephew and like my family on my shit. So I was like, okay. So I made all that private because it started to make me feel kind of weird. And so I made a separate personal Instagram handle like to participate with people.
This
that,
right
like,
here, this is an explain-a-brag about how Juice getting too goddamn big for his britches.
No, I just like
Fans.
I feel like people have been like wanting to like talk to me and like I've just started I like moved everything to private and I felt bad because I just started like ignoring like friend requests and I'm like, oh shit. So or like let me follow you requests. So if you would like to interact with me on a personal level, I've been feeling bad about it and I came up with a personal or a solution. I just made a separate Instagram. I do not use Twitter. I'm not going to make a separate Facebook. So if you want to interact with me personally, I just made a separate one called @JustinAbroad. So if you want to talk to me there, but
Is
I don't.
that really sounds like you're transitioning and you have a new account to document that.
Oh yeah. So I'll see you guys later.
Some little housekeeping news here.
But no, I just like it's been happening, and like I moved everything over probably like a few months ago to private, and I was just like they've been like stacking up like the friend requests and stuff, and I was like
Stacking up.
care of
Okay.
it. So
My God, can you hear the big dick swinging? Because I can. It sounds like a helicopter rotor.
I came out with a solution. I don't know. It felt weird. I got like little kids running around my Instagrams and stuff now.
Well, all right, the Jeff Epstein thing holds.
Yeah. Dark stands in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So little personal housekeeping there.
Cool. On a lighter note, just a quick reminder, we're going to have a table at GAM here in Jacksonville, Florida, which is the Game Arts and Music event that happens every year. It's going to be next Saturday. I believe it's from like 6 to 10. So if you're in Jacksonville or around Jacksonville, swing through GAM and say hi. We're going to have a table with all the like our posters and stickers and buttons and all that fun stuff for sale, and we'll be chatting all things horror. So definitely come hang out with us there. And also, Randy, I do believe we've got a t-shirt design announcement. Is that right?
Yes.
What?
For fuck's sake. You fuckers
Randy.
chipped away at my resolve and there's nothing left. So
You've had the reminder on your phone for like literally a whole year. It says make a sand.
yeah, it's like let me see, it's
It says-
265 days or something.
Make a
303 days now.
Make a sand
So-
Tanic t-shirt.
Yeah, but that's not the one I made. So
That's not even the one that was made.
that it was a Siri recorded reminder, so it is not accurate.
But
But
it's been there for so long.
it's been there for 303 days.
Panic.
But that is not the shirt I made. We have made a shirt representing the weirdest catchphrase that we have buzzed along, which is "hard with us." The "hard with us,"
Hard with us.
which is now available on tpublic.com. We will be sharing out a few links for that as
How do you
well.
use that in a
What?
hard
It's
with
like,
us?
are you hard with us,
Bro.
It means
bro?
you're-
Are you a
you're
poser?
loyal.
Or are you
You're a
hard with us?
fucking poser.
Like hard
Are you
as you like
hashtag
something
hard
you're
with
hard
us?
on?
Are you hard with us?
Yeah.
You gotta get hard with us.
This loser's not even hard with us.
I want to buy a shirt, but
This
I don't
shirt
wanna
is gonna
be-
sell like syphilis.
Dude, the design is awesome. I love the color scheme.
Yeah, I'm,
Yeah, it's
I'm,
a
I'm
cool
pretty
shirt.
happy with it, except for the fact that it says one of our dumb catchphrases. So, enjoy, populace.
Dude,
Yeah,
our
it's like
our
like a
yearly t-shirt.
Frankenstein hand. It's like
Yeah.
doing the devil horns. It's
Yeah,
Pretty
it's zombie devil horns hand.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
it's a
awesome.
classic. It's a classic Disturbia.
Do you want to know a fun fact about the devil horn real quick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me a fun fact.
Well, like this, is it that? Is that it?
It's this.
That's I
This
love
is-
it.
Oh,
you just put your thumb in.
Satan.
in Florida, there's the University of South Florida, and that's like their little sign for the Bulls. And I was
And the
at band
Longhorns.
camp at USF one summer in high
Uh-huh.
school, and they like taught us that, and we were all doing it. And there was like a group of kids who wouldn't do it because it signified the devil,
Aw.
and they like
Oh.
raised a bunch of.
Now they're
hell about
avid
it.
straight chilling listeners.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cheers.
Now they're hard with us.
Now they're hard with us.
Very intense.
You know, if you're soft as a kid, you're definitely gonna be hard with us as adults. So
Yeah.
If you're
You-
soft as a kid. Soft
That's a fact.
bitches.
We really
I was a
gotta
pretty
get off
soft kid.
This whole like pedophilia joke thing. That's
I know, I did too. I
It's
was gonna.
rough.
I had a really good
It's
one,
rough.
but I just decided not
That's
to.
yeah. You know, we'll
Yeah.
feast around the edges of that fucked up little trough.
Yeah, you definitely let it be known you want to be hard with us. The last thing you want to do is be hard without us. Okay, that's the last thing you want to do.
That's a divorce paperwork somewhere out there.
Oh,
I couldn't be
yes.
hard without.
I could not
straight
be
chilling.
hard with anyone but straight chilling, and now my marriage fell apart. That's
And
the
now-
future of everyone listening.
I think our last T-shirt came out like last Halloween spooky season. It was the
Yeah.
orange jack-o'-lantern. So hey,
It was nearly a year.
yearly T-shirt. There
I'm
we
living
go.
up to the baseline level goal of one
Thank
team.
you, Randy.
So, hey, I expect awards for this shit.
Oh,
They're coming
also,
at you.
we have a new video game review up on YouTube. Finally reviewed
Nice.
Inside from April, talking about being late on shit. So that's up. And then I got a new one dropping this week for Bindi and the Ink Machine. We all know how much I love that.
Ooh. I
So
really want to hear your thoughts because I didn't finish that game, but apparently it gets a lot harder than what I saw.
Yeah, well, it's dropping this week, Randy, so I'm trying to catch up on that. That was May's game, so I'm getting close. And then there's Layers of Fear, Friday the 13th, and now I'm doing Hello Neighbor. So I'll catch up soon on the video game reviews. So thanks for checking that out and liking us. Our YouTube is bumping. We're getting, I think, like close to 250 now. I think we just started last year recording videos, so we appreciate you guys. Thanks for that.
I love you, Juice. You're so ready to talk brass tacks with our listeners. Talk about how many people love us.
Numbers don't lie. But if you are interested in picking up one of our new shirts, I'll make sure to include a link to our store in the show notes on this episode, and also there's a link to our store on our website. But it's a TeePublic storefront, so you can get that on a shirt, get it on a sticker, get it on a coffee mug, whatever you want.
A condom.
Condom.
Get on a condom.
Hashtag
harass TeePublic until they offer a condom version of my design.
That would be dope.
Be quite
Make a
literally
dildo
hard with us.
Sweet novelty item.
Becky. That exists.
Right. I could not hear what you said, Becky.
Oh,
But
it does not matter.
Said you can make that thing into like a dildo that goes up and down.
Oh yeah.
This is the merchandising brain we need.
God.
Oh, this is
The
probably
Dane
gonna be
Cook
one of
level
our
merchandising thing.
one of our best YouTube episodes. Anyway,
This is still just housekeeping.
yeah, it
We're
is.
still
I think that's everything.
I am on my
think that's
second
everything.
drink, so whatever.
Holy shit! We are like 15 minutes in.
Boy's
we got-
thirsty.
We got more cool stuff coming down the pike, but that's happening a little bit later. For right now, that's it for housekeeping. Let's get into what we've been watching. Randy, what have you been watching?
Let's see, what have I been watching? Well, Becky and I have tried and so far failed to finish Hagazusa because we watch it together, because Becky likes to go to bed at a reasonable hour and I do not.
Oh.
We kind of like interrupted ourselves with that and haven't gotten back to it. What else did we watch?
Did you watch that Will Ferrell movie?
Yeah, we watched Stranger Than Fiction, which I hadn't seen since theaters, and I kind of liked, despite being a little schmaltzy. It was kind of what you were looking for, is like a romantic No, it wasn't. Okay,
No.
Okay, well, I misread that situation real bad. But we watched it, so we watched it. Let's see what else. I've been watching a lot of.
Oh, we watched that one movie a few nights ago, the one about the train.
Oh yeah, we watched Snowpiercer. I had never seen Snowpiercer.
Oh yeah, that's a
And
good
then
one.
I heard a wild internet wildfire theory about it being a sequel to Willy Wonka, and I was like, well, I can't ignore that. So I watched it, and it was great. It was actually a fun fucking action movie. I really enjoyed it. Whether or not that theory holds water is to the eye of the beholder, but
I'll interrupt though, because during the movie,
that's true.
I like thought of Willy Wonka a couple times, and then later Andy's like, "Oh, it's supposed to be a, post Willy Wonka thing," and I was like, I totally felt that vibe, which
Yes,
was weird.
you did. You kind of called it, but
Yeah.
not in the direct way. And I don't know. It was a good fucking movie though. Like Chris Evans, kind of nailing it on all fronts in my opinion. Like with Knives Out coming out too, he looks great in that. Like he's the standout in that trailer anyway. I'm excited to see more of that shit. But Snowpiercer was pretty
like
good.
Great dude too.
Yeah, I agree. Like
He's Captain America.
I mean, it would be real simple for Captain America to be terrible, but fortunately, we're not in that reality.
Cool.
That's all. Really. We've been watching Last Man on Earth again because Becky hasn't seen it yet, and I'm making her. So
Nice. Becky, you been watching anything else?
I've been trying to get through the last season of Orange is the New Black.
Mhm.
I'm about more than halfway through it. It's pretty good. It definitely needs to end, so it's kind of interesting to see where it goes. It's still funny. Two of the actresses are the directors now. So whoever was, I think Jinji Khan.
Junji Cohn created the show.
Oh, okay. Well, someone used to be the director in this last season, Natasha Lyonne, and whoever's from that 90s show, that lady.
Oh, that 70s show.
Whatever that 90s show.
That 90s show, such a babe.
I've never seen it.
It was a very 90s show about the 70s. That's
Well,
true.
she's also the director, so it's good. I like it. That's pretty much it. Yeah,
Right on.
not much.
Juice, what you been watching?
Bob, I watched something that made me think of you. It's a little movie called Creep 2.
Oh man, first
Uh,
time.
first time. We're working just a little tease on some future stuff that we're not going to talk about housekeeping, but we're working on this list, and Creep 2 is on there. So I'm trying to work through. I'm not going to tell you what the list is for or what it's about,
Ooh,
but
Movie
Creep
for all
2,
mates. We just couldn't let it go.
yeah. But
cheese stains.
2 is on there. And I want to work through as much of the list as I could, so I watched that one, and I think I liked it probably better than the first one.
Hell yeah,
I think.
it's much better.
Not by like a
Planet is
lot.
okay.
I actually thought it was like pretty consistent. I thought it took like maybe some of the smaller problems I had with the first one and like improved them. Like the opening of that movie is like really cool, and they kind of like stylize it a little bit more, like with the credits that they do and stuff like that. So it seemed like they were maybe a little more aware and maybe a little more like kind of surprised by the success of maybe the first one and kind of like took it a little more seriously. Maybe I don't know. So yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. Fucking Duplass swinging dong up
So
in
much
that
dog.
bitch. Just-
So much.
Have you seen it,
Gotta give him
Randy?
credit for guts, I guess. I have
I-
seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just straight up, that shit was cracking me up.
I'm not sure if I like the second one better or the first one better. I really haven't given it much thought. But the
Yeah.
second one is like the character that you attach yourself to, the protagonist of that movie, is a lot easier to swallow in general.
Yeah,
like
it's
she's a
true.
lot more relatable.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. So I watched that one, and I think that's pretty much all I've been watching. But yeah, Creep 2. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Dan. I watched a couple John Carpenter movies that I hadn't seen before. So I watched.
Working
his
through the
most-
catalog, right?
I have been.
You're
yeah.
doing this director thing, like you're just going through the directors, aren't you?
Yeah, because you're going through Lynch and stuff too.
Yeah. Did you finish
Yeah.
Lynch?
No, I haven't seen everything Lynch did.
Okay, because I was gonna say if you had, you have seen more than me for sure.
No, definitely not. I watched like 3 or 4 Lynch movies, and then I'm kind of taking a break, and then I'm gonna eventually go back and watch Dune. I still haven't watched that yet, but that movie's like 2.5 hours long. It just
Yeah.
seems like a lot.
It is a long movie.
But I watched The Ward, which is John Carpenter's most recent movie. It's from like 2010, I think. It's pretty simple about this girl that kind of goes crazy, and she gets thrown into a psych ward, and she's like going through therapy and stuff. And you kind of have hints that there's like some electroshock therapy stuff going on, and there's like this ghosty going around that's killing her friends, and it's not particularly great.
Yeah.
As far as like Carpenter movies goes, it's probably pretty close to the bottom for me, but it's got kind of an interesting little spin on this, like very straightforward, like this girl's crazy. I mean, we can't really trust what she's saying. It's like,
Bob,
it's alright. It's alright. Huh?
that sounds like some apologist talk. Is that like just because you respect the director, or is that your real feelings about the movie?
No, yeah, it did a thing, and I was like, oh, I did not expect that thing.
All right.
But if it wasn't for that one thing, I don't know that I'd have much positive.
All right. Well, that's what I'm looking for. The honesty.
Yeah. I also
We're honest. We're not fake news here at Straight Chilling.
We're not.
Cheers.
We're bullshit news. I watched Escape from LA for the first time. Have you guys ever seen that shit?
No, I've seen Escape from New York, but not
Yeah,
LA.
with The Rock? Wait, Escape from
No. Escape from LA was like an unloved sequel to Escape from New York.
Oh, okay. I thought it was that one where the Rockies like flying around a helicopter while the city is like disintegrating below him. Never mind.
No,
I don't know what
that is.
It's
No,
like a
it's got
disaster movie. I don't know.
It's got Kurt Russell in it, just like Escape from New York.
No.
But it's like a sequel, like that came out 15 years after Escape from New York. It's like 1991, I want to say, something like that. No, not 96. I think it's 1996. I'd never seen this before, and it's like so dumb. It's just like so dumb. It's
I really
crazy
thought
how
Kurt Russell
dumb
would
it
be
is.
taller. I really did. Just thought
Yeah.
he'd be a taller guy.
But I kind of enjoyed the hell out of it. Like the CG work in it is just some of the worst I've ever seen in any movie. It's so bad, but it's like just reveling in how stupid it is. It knows how dumb it is, and it's just cool to watch Kurt Russell be Kurt Russell and like not really care about anything. It's just there's a young Steve Buscemi in it too, which is pretty cool.
Wait, what year was it? 96?
96, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I had a good time with it. It's not particularly like good, I guess, but it's very enjoyable. I found it to be enjoyable, anyways. And I also watched the entire season 3 of Glow, and that show is just fucking enjoyable. So watch it. Watch it.
Okay.
That's all I got. Let's get into the main event and talk about scary stories to tell in the dark.
Ooh.
Yes.
I just got a notification from Zoom that we might
too.
have a 40-minute limit.
Oh shit.
Oh, that is problematic, isn't it?
It said it just got upgraded.
Except it said we gave you a free gift. We got rid of that, but for future,
Hey.
so I think we'll be good.
Oh, okay.
But for
So everyone, we've
future
been making some changes around Straight Chilling, and now we are on Zoom instead of Skype, and we are learning the ropes, obviously.
I went, oh shit.
We might have like a $50 bill by the end of this episode, but we'll figure it out.
That's a Patreon.
That's what Patreon's for. Please support us on Patreon.
Learning. I'm gonna screen grab what you just did, Randy, and I'm gonna make that a fucking t-shirt because it's great.
Okay. You can make t-shirts,
so yeah.
motherfucker. Holding out on people.
Your face, my shirt. Let's go ahead and get into the main event. Kick it off with the back of the box. What is on the back of the box? All right, ladies and gents, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, 2019. This movie was directed by Andre Overdahl and produced by Guillermo del Toro. The synopsis is as follows. Based on the children's book series from 1981 to 1991, this anthology film adaptation brings Alvin Schwartz's stories and Stephen Gimmel's horrific illustrations to life, directed by Andre Overdahl, The Autopsy of Jane Doe and Troll Hunter, and produced by Guillermo del Toro, The Shape of Water, Pan's Labyrinth. A group of teens find a book of short horror stories that seem to be coming to life. They must face their fears in order to survive this literary nightmare.
Ooh.
Spooky.
That is
so.
Spooked.
We all definitely knew that this was coming out because we've been talking about it in the news and stuff. When you guys were cheerins, had you like read the books? Were you familiar with the books?
Children? When we were children?
Yes. When you were kids,
Okay.
tiny little tykes. Were you familiar with the books?
One.
And would you recommend people check this movie out in the theater? Juice, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, I was familiar with these books. This was like the hot shit back in the day. Man, I don't know, like you gotta like wonder like this new generation of like horror fans, because dude, we had like Goosebumps, we had Scary Stories telling dying, we had like a lot of like good like kid horror stuff going on, you know, back in the day, because I had like the Goosebumps and this and everything, so I knew this was coming out, and I was glad that Del Toro was attached to it, because a lot of things about that book was like the illustrations, you know, that really brought that book to life. So I thought, you know, with this movie, bringing that to life with these like creature designs would like be as like important, I think, kind of transferring that over. So yeah, I think that they did a pretty good job. Even I feel like even if you're not like closely attached to the book, like you'd enjoy this. It starts off at Halloween, so it's good getting into the spooky season. I think it's a great movie for like kids getting into the horror genre too, like maybe around that like 12, 13-year-old like age or whatever, kind of getting into horror. Thought it kind of captured that feeling really well, and I definitely think it's something you should check out in the theater. I mostly enjoyed it.
Cool. Randy, what about you?
I mean, yeah, I definitely owned all of these books growing up. And I mean, if I'm being honest, it's probably one of the things that pushed me towards art, because the artwork in that book was so fucking pivotal to my enjoyment of it. The stories, I don't remember any specific stories, but I can imagine the artwork.
Yeah, man.
Without a thought, you know, not to say anything wrong, anything bad about I forget the writer's name. This is not going well for him, but but yeah, no, like those are the things that like that stuck with me were the illustrations, and because Del Toro was attached, and because Del Toro is such a stylistic flair of his own, I knew that he would see the value in that as well. So that is what allowed me to be excited about this. Otherwise, I would have probably seen this as a quick cash grab and not really thought much about it. But that allowed me to be excited about it, honestly. And Andre Overdahl, like I really do love The Autopsy of Jane Doe. I have not seen Troll Hunter yet in my to my shame.
Oh damn, dude. Yeah, Troll Hunter is dope.
Apparently, but I have not seen it, and I was ready for this movie to be. It could have gone several ways, because the thing is, like I said, the thing I liked about the books is that it was like those illustrations really stuck with me. The stories really didn't, and I kind of was hoping that would be the case or better. Like that was like my baseline. It's like, okay, well, if they get the visuals right and not the story, then I will enjoy myself, and that'll live up to the promise of the books to me.
Yeah.
So, and in that respect, I think this movie does live up to its promise, and I think that like with some complaints forthcoming, but for the most part, I think it's a fucking great movie, especially for what you said, Justin, for kids sort of getting into the horror genre. This is the kind of movie where like if I knew about it when I was 9, the kids who were like 11 were watching it, and I was jealous of them. Like that's how I think about this movie after watching it. And yeah, I definitely recommend it if you grew up in that era, if you are familiar with the books. If you're not, I recommend it sort of loosely as sort of like a I think it's a nice spooky season kickoff, because like Justin said early on, like it's got a nice Halloween section right at the beginning, and it really, really resonated with me. I was excited for that part. So, I mean, I think it's worthwhile, and I think the visuals stand up, and I think you should watch it. Really, in general, I think you should watch it.
Cool. Becky, what about you?
I never read the books growing up, so I like knew about them, but I never read them. I liked more of like the Fear Street books. That's what I liked as a kid. More of the real life horror, even though most of it wasn't real. But you know.
They're making movies out of that too.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's the appropriate response, really.
No, not for that, but like someone's hand got like caught in the garbage disposal on that and stuff. They freaked me out. They're more like home invasion type. Yeah, getting hung from like the catwalk in the theater and stuff. That was
R.L. Stein as well, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But I didn't like the monster stuff as much as a kid. I liked more of the real stuff. So I didn't read scary stories, but I thought it was pretty good. Had the good Halloween feel. There was some, like Andy said, some things I didn't like that much about it, but overall I think it'd be fun, and the theater kind of made it come to life a little more than like watching it at home. So I'd recommend it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty solid Halloween watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wish there was more Halloween in it. It's kind of like, I thought it might be better like if it was one night of all these things happening.
They didn't stick the landing with the Halloween feel, but they definitely started off strong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob, did it get your Q-Che popping with that Halloween? How do you feel?
Oh yeah, the first 30 minutes or so, whenever it's all like happening on Halloween night, I was just like, this is killing me. Like I was way into it.
Oh, Bob,
Andy just
soak
kept
it
giving
in.
thumbs up the whole time.
I did. I gave several thumbs up.
Yeah, I was cheesing a little bit, and then of course, like Randy said, the Halloween vibe kind of fades, but the movie like doesn't just plummet or anything after that. It's still pretty solid.
It just kind of focuses on other things.
Yeah. Yeah, I was familiar with these books as a kid. I don't know that I read them all or anything, but I definitely read some of the stories, and they freaked me out for sure. But I like this movie actually quite a bit. I'm a fan of like Andre Overdahl, and obviously of Guillermo del Toro, and I think in general like the visuals are great. The story is interesting. I like how they kind of created their own original story and then implemented all these short stories from the books, so that it's not just like a straight up anthology. I think that kind of worked to their benefit here. But overall, I think it was pretty damn successful, and I recommend checking it out for sure, especially because it is officially the kickoff of a spooky season. So I mean, start it right. Start it with a brand new movie in the movie theater that starts on Halloween night. couldn't really ask for more than that, could you?
Yeah. I will say this is a new movie, but it still has not come out in Korea. So I know we've been doing like the poster giveaway or whatever, but it's not here. I had to get it the old 5-finger discount style. So
All right.
so unfortunately there's no posters to give away, unfortunately. I hope it eventually, maybe closer to Halloween, that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised it didn't come out like closer to Halloween. I kind of thought that
A
when we were
little
watching
bit,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, at least maybe like early September, but what are you gonna do?
They want to catch the tail end of summer, maybe. I don't know.
Whatever.
Who knows? But let's go ahead and drop that spoiler warning and talk about the rest of this movie. All right, let's do this thing.
One
So
thing
it,
that was kind of nice was having an era that wasn't where a bunch of kids run around that wasn't the 80s.
Yeah.
1968.
Yeah, I was like, I'm so close.
The problem though is like it was 60s, but we both were talking like it just didn't. Besides like the scenery, didn't feel like the 60s. Like the kids didn't really look the part to me or like talk the part.
Some of them did, but not the main three.
Yeah, the sister
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
It
But,
started off
down.
stronger. It felt like when they were at the drive-in, or like the kid with like his car and stuff, and like their like the war. They threw in like the political stuff, like Tricky
Yeah,
Dick.
I know. That's what we're like. I guess it's just for that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Becky, you said something like the way they talk, right?
Yeah, their talk like, oh, that's really cool, man. I'm like, I don't think you'd say that in the 60s. Like, far
None of us
out.
are from the. If any listeners are boomers and want to tell us about the '60s, please let us know that we're full of shit.
Yeah.
We would like to know that. But yes, like that. That seemed like it seemed sort of very modern nomenclature. Like the way they spoke just seemed very modern. Which
It
I mean,
did,
they're catering to a modern audience. I can't
it's
truly
fine.
blame them for it. But at the same time, I was really into that like '60s Halloween small town vibe. Like, so that's something that they kind of like, that other movies have gotten pretty down pat in the '80s, or like Stranger Things season 2 was very much like nailing that aesthetic. And I
Yeah.
wanted to see that, but for the '60s.
Yeah.
And it did that at first, like we said, kind of tapered off. So that was a little bit disappointing, and most of the characters just sort of had very modern sensibilities about them. Like nobody. Like there were some sort of like '60s remnants. Like there was some racism going on against Ramon, the one of the main characters.
Yeah.
No, it still's happening now.
Their Halloween.
Yeah, that's not
There was a
that
shooting
far
last
in the
week,
past
so,
either.
like-
That's true.
Their Halloween costumes were cool. Like their moms made them, and like one kid was like a
The witch costume.
spider. Yeah, the witch costume. She like put on like all her like little molds and stuff.
Yeah.
The clown.
The clown.
I really
Not a
thought
clown.
that clown. Like I mean, and I know it's the exact same costume, and that's why I thought that. But I thought it was doing the Coco the Clown like Max Fleischer cartoon thing, but he was doing some sort of operatic thing that I am not cultured
French
enough to
something,
know.
yeah.
Some French
That-
things.
That kid, if like I like closed my eyes and like could only hear that guy talk, he sounded like a 40-year-old man. Like his voice like sounded like
He's Joe Pera. He's young Joe Pera.
I'm also like a little tired of the funny sidekick dude, and we both agreed funny sidekick wasn't that funny.
Yeah, Chuck, the character
Oh,
of Chuck,
yeah,
was
yeah.
just a little too whiny for my tastes in this movie.
Yeah.
I
That he
really-
was, huh? What were you
I
gonna say?
like the prank at the very beginning where he's literally like he takes a shit in the toilet and then he has to like fish his shit out
That
of the
was funny.
toilet.
I'll give
He
him
puts
that.
it in a bag. Like what? It's like like if you're really thinking this out, like why wouldn't you just shit in the bag? Like, why are you gonna fish?
I wouldn't shit in a bag.
That sounds like that's the words of a true deviant speaking.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Hey,
I honestly don't think
Rob-
I would think.
Rob,
to
you've
do
seen a
that
man
about-
shit in a bag, have you not?
Yeah, I was like, you'll
That's-
definitely do that to someone, didn't you?
Yes.
Dude, Justin King did that.
yes. Well, you probably don't.
He just
wanna
used
see
his real name on a public forum.
Yeah.
Sorry, Justin.
It was like 15 years ago, 16 years ago. I don't
Whoever
know.
strike
Oh,
it big,
a
that
long
dude
time
has
ago.
absolute right to sue us.
That was on Bob's birthday. That dude threw a shit on some dude's truck.
Dude, it stunk up my whole house. The whole house.
This was pre poopery, guys. So there was no helping
Oh
it.
man.
You kids these
Ah.
days in your poopery.
All the children he was
You
pooping.
really got
We
it
know
good.
that.
You got it good.
Oh, fuck.
But seriously, that dude shit in a bag, lit on fire, and threw it inside of a car. And
Dude, that would
landed on
smell
dude's lap.
terrible.
That's
Yeah.
Did you guys know the
dangerous.
guy whose poop you threw it into?
Let's not go into that.
I was just
No,
like,
let's talk about the movie.
We're
I'm
talking about the movie again. We're talking about
Okay,
the movie.
okay.
You're not talking about our deviant past and whether or not we should be arrested.
Okay. Not me, Justin King.
You really gotta stop.
That's fine.
There's gonna be a lot of post work for Bob in this episode.
I don't know how to handle this. It's
Just censor it
at
out.
least it's a common
Justin.
name, I guess.
Yeah, who? I was like, what? Fine.
Anyway, back to the
Anyways.
movie. Yeah, that the bully was like classic, like way leaning into his bully role, but at the same time, like he had a literal bag full of flaming human shit on his crotch when he's driving down the street. Like I'd be fucking pissed too.
Yeah, they cast that kid pretty well. He was like pretty Weasley. Weasley kid.
Definitely the Vietnam, like wanted to go fight some people.
Commies, fight the commies.
I mean,
Yeah.
like his character is instantly disliked, and like you're clear immediately that the stereotype of him is bully. But Bob, you're right. You make a good point. Like he kind of doesn't do anything that bad, and throughout the movie, except for locking the kids in the basement of the
Yeah.
Yeah,
which,
but that's after the flaming shit.
and that's
Yeah.
that's in retribution, and that's also when he's extremely drunk, which
Yeah.
for better or for worse is something you could add to that conversation. But that kid for the first like whatever 20 minutes of the movie or
He's
whatever,
basically the whole movie.
he's
for the
kind of
first
just
time.
like, yeah, I thought he was gonna have a much bigger role than he did, but he just
Yeah.
really was the first victim.
He really was, yeah.
Yeah, like he got the Herald Scarecrow thing, which
Yeah.
was, by the way, a spot on interpretation of the visuals from the
Yeah, I agree.
story.
That
Yeah,
shit
that
looked
Scarecrow
awesome.
was like, I don't know, like in real life, how that scarecrow would look so humanized.
No, yeah,
but
that-
it was
it's-
creepy.
No, yeah.
It was not facsimile of reality. It was definitely facsimile of the illustration.
But it was it was creepy. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
So, and I honestly think that was my favorite one. And I feel this way about like just kind of the movie in general, in the way that it kind of separate, like we said, it's like kind of anthology, but not really. Is the first Scarecrow one, like, and that was still surrounding like the Halloween night and everything like that. I was like really impressed at the beginning, and each time like it lost that pizzazz a little more. Like each interaction I liked less and less and less, and like as the movie progressed I seemed to kind of like get less and less interested. I don't know if you guys felt that same way, but like I felt like the Halloween night and the Herald and like all that was like peak interest, like, oh, this is awesome. And then by the end I actually was like getting a little bored, or I was like that
Yeah.
last monster, like that chased the kid like to the police station and stuff, it started to get more like
Yeah.
goofy, more kiddish, and I was like, I don't really like this now. And even the woman in the hospital, like I like the red room aspect, like, or where everything turned red, but I didn't think she looked that good, or like I don't know, like I like that wasn't as interesting. Each time it got less and less interesting was my thought.
My least
Yeah,
favorite was definitely the Red Room lady.
Yeah,
But I don't know if you guys have seen My 600-Pound Life at all.
you were telling
bit,
us
yeah.
about it.
Well, the doctor's name is Doctor Now, and he's this like plump, like Pakistani guy, I think.
He's about 4 foot nothing.
Yeah. And every time he walks in the room, he goes, "How y'all doing?" And for some reason, that lady reminded me of him. Like, stop
Every
it.
time he turned and looked and saw another lady, Becky was thinking, "How y'all doing?"
I don't know why. It's just like I could see her just stopping and like saying that. So, but
Poor Doctor Now. He
Yeah.
only
I know,
wants to
that's
help.
and I don't know if it was like we were in a theater where like you ordered food and stuff, and so there were people coming in the whole time like taking orders and all that. I don't know if it kind of like
That's weird.
not ruined the experience. It was fun, but like,
This is the bad beer of Becky's review.
Yeah.
well,
Bring
definitely
it
just
on,
like
sister.
any vibe that like any spooky vibe, like it was like a climax of the movie and the guy's like, "Do you guys need anything else?" So it kind of just like
Yeah.
you couldn't really
a little
get
much.
into it enough,
That's
I
pretty
feel like,
lame.
which
Why the
How
fuck
y'all
would they do
doing?
that?
but at the same time, like none of it was like Justin said, it kind of was losing my interest.
Yeah.
I think minute 30, I was kind of getting bored, and then it like changed paces a little bit, and then by the end, I was
would
like,
say
okay.
it wasn't a gradual bell curve for me, like not at the moment that you said, Juice, but I did enjoy, like, I think all of the monsters except for maybe the last one, the Poti Y or whatever that last
Let's
one.
run them down. Let's kind of go
That's a good
through
idea.
all the different creatures. So like,
So,
I think
well, first they go to the house. I think we should talk about that. Like, I mean, as part of the
True.
monster
That was a
thing.
great haunted house for my taste.
Yeah, so they have like a haunted house, and like the goofy kid he finds like there's one he sees like an actual ghost. He's the only one, I think.
Which that was like sort of a weird anomaly where it was almost like unexplainable, like how like why he saw anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The kids break into this like old decrepit mansion on Halloween night, and there's like this legend that there was it's just like this family by the name of Bellows, and they have this daughter named Sarah Bellows who apparently murdered children, and they kept her in the basement, and she would like make up these stories or whatever. So they like find the book, Sarah Bellows's book, and it looks like it's like written in blood.
Tell the kids she murdered stories, and those were the stories that she told them.
Right, yeah. So they take the book, and the main girl, Stella, she's like kind of flipping through the book afterwards, and she realizes like stories like forming real time in the book, and it's the story of Harold like coming to life and killing the bully whose name I forget now.
Tommy? Was it Tommy?
Yeah, maybe it was.
Tommy.
Yeah.
It was Tommy.
So that's when you kind of realize that this book is incorporating all of these kids into its murder stories, like in real time. So each one of these kids kind of has their own story and their own creature, and we kind of work through those as the movie progresses. And also in between those like spooky monsters coming to life, the kids are basically trying to find out the backstory of the Bellows family and what's like Sarah Bellows' deal. Why is she killing these kids? And so you've got kind of this like detective story that's really pulling you through the main narrative.
It is. It's weird like not Beverly Cleary. What's her name? It's like a Hardy Boys sort of deal. Nancy Drew, thank you. It's like a Nancy Drew sort of thing going on with her.
The Hardley Boys, Randy.
The Hardley Boys.
They're definitely not hard with us.
Hard. So Harold was the first one. He was the scarecrow. That one was dope. The second one was the toe, right?
Yeah, that was kind of gross.
Yeah, that was still like effective, and like I felt for that kid too, because like he kind of like like we kind of, and it happened. So like the bully, you're like, that dude's kind of a piece of shit, but then it starts getting the friends. They're like, oh shit. And
out
then,
of everyone, August, that kid with the big toe monster, like he was probably the one that deserved the least to be murdered, because he was not on board for any level of even being in the house. He was kind of like the naysayer.
Yeah.
And he got fucked over.
And he got it like more brutal than like Chuck did. Like Chuck just got like absorbed. Like he got like yanked like under the bed, and like his fingernails are like scratching the floor and shit.
That scared the shit out of me. That jump scare when he gets pulled underneath the bed, it got me good.
I jumped. I did jump. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's number 2. So we had a scarecrow, and then we had a corpse. The third one was, which is like the only one that stuck out to me from the books, like story-wise, was the spider one. So this chick has like, she thinks it's a pimple. It's like a spider bite on her face, and it's like spiders all come out of her face or whatever. So that was
super effective for Beck.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
That was Chuck's sister, right? His name's Chuck, right?
Yeah, Chuck's sister. Yeah.
Chuck's sister. And so
she went crazy.
Yeah.
Then she went like insane.
But then she was fine by the end.
I don't know. Yeah. And then she's number 3. Number 4, who was number 4? Was it the
that's the pale lady, I think.
The what?
The pale lady, the big white lady in the red room.
Oh yes, Chuck. Chuck. Yeah, Chuck. Number 4 was the hospital one, and then number 5 was the jail with the
Jangly man.
what is it?
Racist cop got taken out, and then
I
forget what he said. It was like "Utu Waidu" or some sort of like 4-syllable thing.
Yeah, it was something.
That's weird.
The kid calls him the Jangly man, which is easier to remember and say.
Oh, did he? Okay, I didn't.
Yeah. And then they go back to the haunted house, and there's like a little episode there with like the family, the old like the Bellows family.
It was
'Cause
like Sarah Bellows herself.
Yeah.
because they were like setting up this girl. So like I guess what did they say? She was like albino or something. She was like looked different.
They,
She was,
locked
yeah,
her
she had some
away.
sort of albino sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so they locked her in the basement, and then they did something. They were like some greedy sons of bitches or something, and they like killed
Poisoned the
people.
water.
Yeah, but they blamed it on her. But I couldn't like. Why did they put them? It was mercury or something. Were they like
Yeah.
mining or
accidentally poisoned the
something?
water
Okay.
in course of their business,
Yeah.
and then she tried to tell people about it because she knew
Okay.
like why these children were dying.
But she was locked
And
in the
then they put it
basement,
on her.
and so she was talking to like kids through the walls, and then they died, and then it was like it became this like this legend or whatever.
That makes more
she had-
sense. I wasn't sure what's
yeah.
going on.
Yeah, I think she was actually like a force of good, and that's what the end was
Yeah.
about.
But
Because
then
was
she
trying
ends
to
up
expose her
being
whole family, but they
a ghost or like a powerful ghost. I don't really know. That
Yeah.
was a little like,
there's not a lot of like it's all very mythological in that like a ghost just happens. Like there's not like
yeah.
you aren't given and you don't necessarily require a reason for this particular dead person to become a ghost. That she just
Yeah.
did, and she also came with a ghost with powers.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that maybe, but like it's like from a logic perspective, it doesn't necessarily hold a lot of water, but from a storytelling perspective, and which is what the whole thing is about, is storytelling.
Yeah.
Like you got to give it to them. Like that's like a person dies and becomes a ghost. Like if somebody tells you that in the story, you just are forced to accept that.
Yeah.
I thought like at the end the friends might come back and it was just like a dream or something, but they're still missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing though, how they end this movie is like
The movie is a fucking weird thing. Or the end of the movie, rather.
yeah, they solved the problem. Like the whole like the way they ended is she goes back to the house, she's like trying to return the book the whole time. They try to burn it, it doesn't work, people keep dying. It's like every night somebody dies, like every night. And so what it ends up happening is like she's like, I'll tell your story. Like so she like they were like playing detective, and they figure out like, oh, she was framed, like she didn't actually kill anybody. And so they solve it by like, oh, like I'll tell everybody. So then like all the ghosties go away, and the one kid doesn't die, and the one girl doesn't die. And then the guy, he goes to Vietnam to fight because he was drafted. And then the girl breaks the other girl, I guess, out of the psych ward, the girl with the spiders, and they're like driving to search for their missing friends. But where were they going? I don't understand why they're like, we're gonna go find them. It's like the ghost took them. Where are like? It's not like
they are dead.
It's not like they're in Wisconsin. Like we're gonna go hunt them down. It's like they got.
I think they're in Lake Erie.
They got like absolved. Like like
absolved,
one dude
absorbed.
literally absolved. Yeah,
they were absolved.
They were
All their
absolved.
sins. They went to heaven.
Maybe,
Yes.
but.
Like, I agree. Like I was confused about that. It really seems like they're trying to set up a sequel, and I really don't think this series needs one.
Yeah, she's trying to play her own Tom Cruise, saying, I'm gonna go hunt all the
Like, why
monsters.
do we? Okay, like I see what you're doing, and it at least like if you take that at face value, it does a couple things. It does one thing really that I appreciate, which is it gives Hank Schrader a reason for existing.
Schrader.
Hank, yeah.
Hank Schrader plays her dad. What's his name? Fucking. I'll have to think of the actor's name. I'm blanking on it, but he they have like some trauma in their family because her mom left at a young age, and she blames herself for it, and that's sort of like her central like arc is getting over that.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good, but he's sort of like a sad sack for most of the movie, and sort of like just working because he has to, and just like unable to deal with being a single parent. Which understandable, but by the end of the movie, it's him, his daughter, and his daughter's friend's sister, who just got out of a psych asylum,
and they're just happily driving.
And they're
down the
happily
street.
driving to absolve their friend ghosts. Like they're out there trying to like save. She said, "I know in some way I'll be able to save Chuck and Augie, who are her friends, but how? And how do you know that?" like
she's got the book.
Have a magic book, I guess, but that magic book, you've never had any control over what it does. In fact, that was the whole premise of the story. So
That's weird.
To quote a wise man, John Goodman, it's all about the money, boys.
Oh yeah.
I guess. I mean,
How many books are there in the series?
there are 3. As I recall, there were 3. There were 3 scary stories, more scary stories, and even more scary stories.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's what all the movies are gonna be called.
So
Maybe,
I guess.
probably.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like begrudge them for making another one necessarily, but I kind of wish they stood alone. Like I
Doesn't
don't.
need to see.
It doesn't need the same protagonists. It just have
No.
the
Yeah,
same.
if anything, just give me a new group of kids or something. You
That's
could
one of the
even do
things
it like a different era, like 60s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s. Or that'd be kind
Yeah,
of cool.
that's a
or
great
something
You
like
could
idea.
that.
throw Jack Black in there.
Yeah,
We'd be
well, okay,
rolling.
Goosebumps 2 did not do so well, but
Did not do so well.
Also, that clock in the wall, or the house with the clock.
The
in
house with the
wall.
clock in the
Yeah, that
Yeah,
wasn't
Jack Black
good.
was
for
all
some
up
reason
in
Jack
that.
Black is tapped for a lot of like children's horror adaptations.
Yeah.
He's a big goofy guy, like so.
I
He
guess so.
plays
But he
well with
also
the kids.
plays like very like it's like he's goofy because he plays everything super straight. Like he's not super straight, but like he takes everything super seriously within character.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
goofy
I
enough,
love
like, won't
Jack
scare
Black.
kids too much.
I
It's a
love
good
Jack
mix.
Black, and I really loved the book, The House with the Clock on the Walls. I'm excited to watch the movie finally when I get a chance. But I don't know, like it is sort of like a losing battle because these are children's stories and we're adults reviewing them. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that's the thing. I kind of can't fault this movie for having plot difficulties because it really had high ambition for what was really like set up to be an anthology. Like the books are anthologies. The books
Yeah,
are
yeah.
singles, like very mythological, very like individual stories, and they're also very silly. Like there's stories that like I could if they weren't for the illustrations and my experience like looking at them as a child and reading the story along with them, I don't know that they would have left an impact. I couldn't tell you
Yeah,
the lady
that's
with her
true.
missing toe. I couldn't tell you about Harold the Scarecrow. I could tell you on sight that is the same illustrator from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. If you showed me a picture, though,
Yeah.
that's what it was really all about, and that's what this movie really nailed. So it's kind of hard for me to like hold it too hard against the movie if the plot is thinner than like fucking Midsummer or some shit. Like it's not.
Yeah, I guess
not
the
meant
problem.
to be more than that. Really.
I guess the problem with that was with me too. I felt like they like the scarecrow thing. It was really cool, but all this like moments felt like they were over in like almost an instant. Like what seemed to be like the really like meat of the movie, like these individual like monsters, like they didn't hardly last at all. Like it was like boom, here it is, and the kid's gone. Like boom, here it is, and the kid's gone. Like it was so fast paced with these things. I was like, man, you could have maybe taken one of those out and spent more time. Or honestly, I would have preferred less time with them like investigating. Oh, let's go to the hospital. Like that, I was like really started to lose interest. I was like, man, I want to see these like monsters more like. And that seems like it'd be more effective with kids anyways. Like, oh, like you said, with the illustrations and like the Harold like chasing him through the cornfield a little, like he literally like bumps into him, he like runs away, he like catches him, and that like that's the end of it. It was like so fast.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long they were, but I know that the Red Room for me was like they didn't take their time with it, but they didn't rush that thing getting close to him. It was very
I guess that one.
I appreciated that. I remember sitting there thinking like, man, they could have just like suggested this and then just been done with it.
Yeah.
And save some time for the other things in the movie.
The whole reason they went there was kind of like Justin said, just kind of like too much for me. Like the whole investigation part of that was just like, okay, I get it. And
yeah, I mean,
looking through stuff.
That's the thing is like you're coming to this movie and like they inserted a Nancy Drew situation into an anthology story, which I think they did pretty well considering that seems to have been the aim. It's just kind of hard to like, I don't know, like for as thin as the original stories were, I can't blame them. I just can't. I can't blame them for trying to have a cohesive narrative.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it really pulls everything together and it benefits the overall story, even if it does kind of take away from some of the monsters or whatever. I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, has any anthology ever had like a really good central core thing that they
Yeah.
use. You know,
And
like
that's the thing, though,
BTS
like-
maybe comes to mind as having at least kind of like a very consistent idea of what the anthology like what or the head of the branches is, the trunk is.
Yeah.
This movie, the trunk is the Cerebello's story and the investigation around that. And it didn't they could have absolutely just gone without that shit, but I'm glad they went with it because it gave at least a little emotional weight to some of the characters. The character of Stella, she had some sort of like a little bit of depth going on. She was self-blaming. She related to the main antagonist, and that's how she managed to
solve the problem.
surpass it, solve the issue. But then they went on to say, and now I'm going to go solve it even bigger by saving my dead friends, which I didn't appreciate that. But
Don't appreciate you.
Something I wanted to bring up was the music in this movie.
Oh, I got something to say about that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So the little music boxes that they open, they find a couple throughout the movie, and it's playing like this little jingle. And I don't know, did you guys recognize it at all? Are you familiar with that song?
Becky immediately.
You are? Yeah.
Like at first, my mom used to.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Everything you're about to say makes sense.
Well, I lived in a house growing up that was like a main house, and then the people before us like built on into the garage.
Hang on. Did you guys lose Bob?
Yeah.
Visual, yes. Bob, you there?
Keep talking.
Okay.
So I grew up in a house that had like a main house, and then the people before us like built into the garage. So I like slept in the garage, so it was kind of away from like the rest of the house, and always like freaked me out at night. And my mom would do like weird things like behind my door as I was falling asleep every night. She would like scratch on the door and say "red rum" like in a creepy voice. Or she'd be like, "In space, no one can hear you scream."
Oh my!
And I'd say like "good night." But she also sang this song to me through the door creepily.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Are
so
you familiar with the song, Juice?
No.
it's the worms crawling. It's about like getting. It's called the Hearst song, and it's like getting buried. And it's talking about like getting buried.
You're the
and-
next to die.
Yeah, you're the next today.
It's a children's song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look up the lyrics real quick. I'll
will.
sing it. It's like the worms crawling, the worms,
worms
crawl out,
crawl
the
out.
worms.
Oh
crawl
shit! I
out.
kind of do know that a little bit.
Yeah, me too. That was my reaction too. I was
Huh?
like, vaguely familiar, but I don't
Yeah.
It's like a World War I's like children's song, like
Damn.
what's it that the going around in the circle song, ring around the
think
rosy and all
Ring Around
that.
the Rosie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was subversive. That was more like hidden.
Yeah.
It's some dark shit, but
Anyways, like yes, I
That's
very
awesome.
much knew that song, but Andy didn't recognize it right
Yeah,
away.
I mean, it took me a minute. I was like, this is a cool theme. And
Huh.
immediately, I was like, this is a cool theme.
But
And then I was like, wait, this
it's
sounds kind of
stolen.
familiar, like a Bicycle Built for Two kind of familiar, or something I didn't really know, but I kind of know. I don't know, but
it's
Yeah.
definitely creepy and added a creep factor for me just because I knew the song, so kind of tied it home.
Yeah.
But maybe it was more popular in the Well, I guess it was after World War One.
the worms
The
crawl
60s.
in, the worms crawl out. Here, you want to sing it?
No, you can keep reading.
You want to sing?
They eat knuckle on your snout. They eat your eyes. They eat your nose. They eat the jelly between your
Oh
toes.
shit! I do know this song.
Yeah.
A big green worm with rolling eyes crawls in your stomach and out your sides. Your stomach turns a slimy green and pus pours out like whipping cream.
Good lord.
You'll spread it on a slice of bread, and that's when you eat what you eat when you are dead.
Damn.
And
Fuck
the
you,
song-
kids.
Yeah, the song starts out. Did you ever think as a hearse goes by that you will be the next to die? This is a fucking dark goddamn song. I'm actually shocked it hasn't been used in a movie before, or if it has, I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. Damn.